Good evening and welcome back to the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts, and welcome to the inaugural event celebrating our partnership with Chase Bank. So this is our first VMFA Fridays After 5, First Friday concert, and I'm bringing to you tonight somebody very dear to me. You've heard me say his name for 2 years, and we're finally in front of Mr. Brian McKnight Jr. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you for having me, man. And it has kind of been 2 years. We've been trying to put something together. So, man, I'm glad, even through all that's going on, that we've been able to do this. So, thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking the time to be with us. We've, over the past few years, have becoming more acquainted as an institution with your mother, Miss Julie McKnight, who we spoke to again last week, and she's become fast one of the favorites around here. Of course, always been one of mine. And now we've got her oldest, the
Yeah.
firstborn, BJ. Welcome to the program. Would you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh, man. Well, I'm Brian McKnight Jr., singer, songwriter, creator, father, healer. To sum it up, I put my heart and soul into all that I do. And the foundation of that is just to be able to share and just give my gifts, man, as much as I can. And that's really me in a nutshell. Uh, I've tried my best. I've tried my best to become someone that my little man can look up to, and that has become the motivation to continue to evolve. So,
You've got two little ones now. My two of my newest cousins. I have yet to be able to hold them in my arms. I'm looking forward to the day where I get to meet them. They remind me of us, when we were kids. Of course, I'm a little older than you, and so I do have memories of you about that age running around. Thinking about that time in our lives, cousin, can you tell us or recount for us some of your earliest memories of music and of song and of performance, the things that continue to shape who you are as an artist?
oh yeah, man. Most of my earliest musical memories still stem from the family, man. To be honest, it's grandma singing, it's grandpa singing, my mom's parents, obviously, Uncle Vic. Um, I was telling Uncle Vic the other day, man, Victor Brooks. I have this memory in my head of him sitting in the villa foyer playing guitar and singing with this Rastafarian dude. And I can still hear the melody that they were singing. And that in my subconscious, man, is one of those moments that continues to validate that I was born to be a part of music somehow. And then leading on as we're talking 2 to 3 years old, man, I was introduced to some of the best music of all time.
Yes, you
I
were.
remember Michael McDonald, Bobby Caldwell, a lot of Marvin, a lot of early MJ, a lot of Stevie, obviously. Um, so not only can I remember that far back, but where I can pull back to those influences now in my own production or in my own writing. I'm so thankful to our family, man, to have been born into this just, gosh, this musical vault almost. To only now, as I'm almost, 30 myself, have this 2 decade span of the best music of all time, and I can only attribute that to our family, man. Honestly, both sides. A lot of people think that, you know, um, obviously that my dad was the end all be all to the music in our family, and as late as I've begun to really, you know, make shed light on the fact that nah, man, my mama's side of the family really has been beat on another level.
B-Mac's
And
just the one y'all know.
yeah, exactly, really. So yeah, man. Most of my earliest musical memories are the family, us singing together,
Mm.
harmonizing together, learning and hearing those harmonies that early. Gosh, man, that's stuff that you can't pay for, honestly. Stuff that you have to pay for sometimes, honestly. Actually,
The education that we got, just as you're speaking, is invaluable. I think the aunties and uncles, grandma and grandpa, great cousins, brothers, sisters, all of us together created music our whole lives. In the same way, there were also great examples of world-class artists and creatives and musicians constantly in and out of our homes. Can you recount some of your favorite memories of artists you got to interact with as you developed?
Oh my gosh, man. First, when it comes to artists that just have been around the family, I can only speak of, I mean, the Nina Simone's, and I've only heard the stories of how she influenced. So to go from there to then being 11 or 12, man, walk downstairs and El DeBarge is at the piano, or getting home and Michael Cimbello or Bobby Caldwell is literally sitting in my living room. And, you know, people I was close enough to touch, and I was already conscious enough, young enough when I met these people to be like, man, you are the reason why I do this. And I think all the time, how fortunate, man, and just how privileged and blessed I was to be that close to those type of people. You know, even so young, I remember the day I met Bobby Caldwell, man. He actually pulled me backstage at one of his shows and ended up singing "My Flame" with me because he didn't leave. He didn't sing it in his set, and even in that moment, I was thankful that I was again conscious enough to be like, wow, this is something that everybody doesn't get to experience. And I have to use it. I must reciprocate this energy. And the way that I can do that, you know, at my best is creating my music, man. So to sum it up, I still every single day am inspired and pulled from my earliest musical memories. And I know that that's why I can write as fast as I can and produce as fast as I can because I have the greats with me. They're literally right here. Prince is here. I know it. Marvin is here constantly these days. He's always coming. And a lot of the stuff I'm writing now is in that more what's going on. I want you era of a young man learning how to love, but who's also really becoming quite conscious of being a black man in America for the
Right.
first time. So all of that, man, is still attributed to this great musical Rolodex I have, aligned with just our family history, you know, being in church, not really growing up playing or singing in church as much as I would have liked to have now as I'm older, but still having that, you know, foundation again of those chords, of those harmonies, those real chorus sections are still really heavy in my music now, man. So,
You know, the
yeah,
church singing is a big part of the musical journey for a lot, particularly for us. I was one of us cousins who was constantly on stage singing in church in front of people like you. And thinking about this journey that you've walked along, we've talked about some of your influences. We've talked about a little bit. I mean, we could go on, and I think you're a fascinating person. I wish we had more than the time we have for this interview. But you now are writing songs, and you're writing hundreds of songs. I don't know how you're keeping up with your own self, BJ. But as you're crafting these words and these melodies, what are you trying to create? What sounds are you trying to invent or replicate? Do you want to sound like an R&B artist? Is it gospel that's influencing you? Where are you headed?
man, you know, that journey for me of what's your sound and who are you going to be sonically as an artist has honestly been the hardest thing for me to conquer
Hmm.
until as of late because I do so much. You know, some days I rock, some days I'm country, some days I rap now
Do
quite
you?
well. Oh yeah, and some days I am R&B, but now that I'm also scoring, man, classical days really have taken over as well. So what I've tried my best to do is just inspire a feeling as more so than a particular sound. I think for whatever I do, whether whatever entity you are hearing from me at that time, I just want to inspire happiness. Even in the songs that may be sad, you know, maybe about heartbreak, I still always try to invoke that feeling of hope and that feeling of no matter how bleak things may seem, there is light out there and it is waiting for you. All you have to do is race toward it. And through all of my music now, whether it's R&B, whether it's, you know, hip hop or whatever, I that's where I try to go because that's essentially who I want to be to the people. I want to be that, not necessarily an escape, but I would love to be another option to kind of get away from the status quo that's going on right now. And I think it's time for a young black role model as a man to first of all give some insight into the young psyche of a young man, not just a black man, but especially a young black man in these times. I think it's necessary for both men and women, man, to kind of understand why we make some of the decisions we make. Because I don't think I don't think enough people understand or even empathize with the fact that those some of us, gosh, man, really the things that we do and the mistakes that we make are deep rooted in coming from our heart, no matter how malicious or subconsciously insensitive they may seem. And that's definitely something else I would like to teach and change the stigma of, whether it's through my music or through, mediums like this where I'm just able to finally speak and give
Yeah.
some insight into these things, man. So I would say, yeah, I just always want to inspire happiness and that motivation to just become the best version of you, because that's all I'm doing.
Positivity, that positivity, positive Vic is on right now. I'm digging on that. I love what he does. And I love that we're going to get back to our discussion, but I love that over at the Victor Brooks show, we've moved sort of beyond focusing on art, and we're talking about mental health, and we're talking about many different topics that can come together and help us to develop who we are. As we've developed individually, BJ, you and I have had similar experiences and similar joys, certainly, and similar hardships, similar things that hurt. Um, we're both in our 30s now. You're a father, I'm not. What about you? What, now that you are a father and you are still a creative and you are putting your thoughts and your words and your philosophies into the universe, what is it that you're hoping that maybe your son and daughter are going to be able to glean from this as they're developing the way we have?
And um, my little ones, the fact that they inspire everything, I've already begun to talk to them and tell them that daddy is here to be an example of following your dreams, if nothing else. I want them to always know that they can go out there and risk it all and fall on their face if they have to, and know that daddy's going to be there because that's what daddy does.
Right.
Daddy goes out every day and risks it all because I want to be able to build a life for them to be able to do the same thing and have that security in knowing that daddy will never judge me. Daddy will never, ever, ever condemn me or make me feel insecure about anything, not just my art, decisions. I'm just like, I can't imagine a situation where I would be against my little ones, man. If I can sense within them that they are doing something that's coming from their soul, how can you? And I also want them to know that they can be honest with daddy because daddy will always be honest with them. I've tried my best, even through my situation, to be as honest with them early on about every facet of what daddy has going on so they can never look back and feel like daddy was telling me half truths or anything. I want them to always feel secure in knowing that daddy's going to keep it real with me and always be there for me, man. And I think if I can instill that in them, they will take that out into the world. And I can't imagine them not being able to succeed and be great when in whatever version of that it is for them, because that's all I want. If it cultivates happiness for them, that's it. That wins for me. You know.
I'm proud of you, baby boy. I'm so proud of the man you are, BJ. I shouldn't call you baby. You're not much younger than I am. But I do recall you are my very first music student.
Oh
I
yeah.
do remember all the years ago staying in your home, working with you. Do you remember, I found it the other day, organizing some stuff in my home here in Richmond. Do you remember our cover of Liberian Girl?
Yes, man. I listen to it all the time. Funny. Benji, man, or my cousin Benji,
Yeah.
loves that.
Does
He
he?
loves our version of that, man. Yes, and it still sounds great. That was 2006.
You were like 15, 16. I don't remember. We were kids.
Oh man, I still have that. I still have the session for that. That is
I I
that is
have that. We recorded. I wrote a song, "Better Than Sex." Remember that
yeah, yeah. Oh
song?
yeah.
I've got that. There's something else we worked on, and of course, you were writing. "Marry Your Daughter," I think, was written around then.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then some else you sang a lot. Oh, man, I wish I could remember the name of it, but I used to love that song. The way you were sewing words together then was so smooth and so easy for you.
Thank you. That was a that time period, was a really pivotal time for me. As a songwriter, man, I really honed a lot of the same skills I still use today and try to continue to sharpen now from that time. And again, from a lot of the people that you inspired me to listen to at that age, man, you figure 13, 14, 15, 16, those years were really pivotal in my like spongeness of just taking on a bunch of different things from the writing side to the composition side, then the singing side as well, man. So
Feels
Yeah.
good that I had a good impact like that.
Oh yeah. Oh, without a doubt, man. And not just musically, man. Again, like you've always been a huge inspiration, man. All to all of us, honestly. Me, Vic, Nico, Benji, man. The times we got to spend were special, man. I need as long as you know that, without getting too deep for this. And really, man, we cherish it, honestly.
Cousin, I'm gonna get on a plane and I'm gonna find my way to California. We'll sit down, we'll go out, we'll have a drink, and we'll reminisce.
I'm ready, man. I
Days long by. Before we hang this up, because we've been on this interview longer than we intended, but I don't care. How's Nico?
Oh, he's so good, man. He's so good. I'm so proud of him. The last few years, I've really watched him come into his own as a photographer, as a
Mm,
videographer, as a graphic designer. Something that was again something that he really had always had an eye for and wanted to get into. And to watch him navigate his way into that field independently and become one of the top two filmmaker photographers in LA now, man,
yeah.
it's been really, really incredible.
It
And
out of nowhere. Out of there
well,
weren't any other photographers. How did he figure that out?
you know, when we were on tour, man, I'll never forget. My dad had honestly, we had one cameras or something like that. We were given three or four cameras, and he just completely gravitated to it, man. And if you look back, a lot of my dad's pictures from around that time we started touring, Nico was taking all of those pictures that young. And from then on, just taking pictures, continuing to edit and shoot his own little films, on the tour bus, in the hotel room. He just naturally just got really good. And Nico himself, man, just is such a natural savant. Anything he touches or decides to get into, he becomes incredible at.
He's
And
still the
oh,
best guitarist I've been in the room with. I mean, the boy can play.
you wouldn't believe how the things he can do now, because he doesn't show off. I show off. I can't help it. I have to. I love performing. Nico is more like, I just want to stay out. He's the background. It's just always been him, and I love him for it. And because he knows, he's always known himself, man. And the other thing, even besides his career, just to see, I can't wait for you to see how he's evolved, man, and the great man that he's become, because he's really become the role model for a man from me. I tell him that all the time. For him to be my younger brother, to have grown up watching the mistakes that my father and then I went on to make, it's a no-brainer that he does not make any.
Mm.
And just watching him, man, as a boyfriend, as just a role model, and as a philosopher, because you want to talk about a scholar, that dude, it's insane the knowledge he has, man, and he would never know because he's still quiet, Nico, man,
Don't sleep
until
on Nico McKnight.
yeah. Oh yeah. That's still my ace, man. Still my ace. I'm so proud of him. So proud of him. I can't wait for us all to be together, man. It's gonna be a ball.
And
Honestly.
young Bree,
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, man.
she's got music coming out. I'm hearing some of it.
Yeah. You know what's really interesting about Brie, man, my sis, is she's really the most like me. It's
Mm.
weird. Especially when it comes to music, man. Whenever she comes down, she's in Arizona now. She begs me to make music, literally begs me, will not let me do anything else. And that's me. And I love that. Don't tempt me with a good time. We will make 3 or 4 or 5 songs in a night. And that's what we do. Each time she comes, we try to get at least one in. And now we've got, man, yeah, almost a 6, 7 EP of jams. She's written it all herself. All I was doing was producing. And that's the beauty, to kind of watch her develop her own melodies, finding her own voice, sounding like me and Nico, like
Mm.
blended together. Oh, it's the most interesting thing. But she's also a genius as well, man. Scholar, valedictorian,
Mm.
graduated top of her class, #1 volleyball player in the country, and is going to a full ride
Cousin.
to play, man. So my siblings are doing their thing, and my youngest sister Braylon, man, um, will be a young little rocket scientist at some point. She's 12 now, 13, and she's
Is
already
she?
a genius. Yeah, man, time is
At old?
flying, man. We were all together for the first time last month, and it was the most heartwarming thing, man, to kind of have us all together finally. Older, we could really kind of talk finally and really be like, that connection is finally there. And for me, that's huge, man, because I ride for them. I would take a bullet for them. And if you cross them, I think I've made it quite clear that I don't care who you are, I will come for your neck
Yeah.
because
Okay.
you
Watch
know
out.
they are they're my heart, man. Along with they are right in there with my children. I consider them my little ones, and that's who I do everything for. Even Nico, his 28-year-old self, I will kiss him right on his forehead. I don't care. You know what I mean? Those are my
EJ and Nico running around Uncle Victor's house. I still have these images.
gosh, man. And I'm so thankful. Honestly, even through this time, man. I think even seeing what's going on and watching how other people have kind of been forced into their homes with their families for the first time like this, who don't really kind of have the camaraderie that we have. I really look forward to kind of sharing that with the world now, man, and giving people a view into what it can be like when you do have those moments, and when you do have such a vast family tree to have, the kind of myriad of experiences that we've all had, man. And I think that's why inevitably we find ourselves in an artistic lane most of the time because, we I think we are touched in the sense of we're meant to share these things with everybody.
We have
So,
ancestors to make proud, like your mom likes to say,
oh yeah, oh
the
yeah,
ancestors. And I love to think about that. Mommy and Poppy in particular,
oh yeah.
I miss our great grandparents.
Me too, man. Mommy was in my dream the other night, man. And it's interesting. Last time I was in Raleigh, I don't know if you'll be able to see it that well, but I have mommy's Bible.
Look at that. I see it. I even may. Oh, I have some of her jewels after she died. I ended up with some of her jewels, and I've kept them close to me, very very close. Yeah.
That is incredible, man. That they're here, man. I always tell him I talk to Grandpa as often as I can now, and I just kind of reiterate that to him, like they're here, man. Poppy, especially, he's here. I always feel him in the back of my head, tapping me like he used to. Always, it's always there. So they're
Crazy
with
white hair.
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, man. It's again, I cherish that so much. Great great grandmamas, great great grandfathers, that kind of lineage, you really don't see that anymore, man. And I appreciate it without a doubt. I don't take it for granted at all. And I really, really, really look forward to within this next year or two, man, with the way things are going, that my plan for the family will kind of begin to really come into fruition of having our own land, having our own water, growing our own food, having this established compound like lifestyle, man, where we can touch each other, we can really reach out and see each other if we want to. I want to facilitate this place where you guys, all of us, know that we have this land. We don't ever have to spend that much time apart, and we can create together. Let's That's where we're going, man. To be honest,
We got to get back to that Lewisburg lifestyle.
Oh, yes, 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 and a few Lewisburgs, right? So
Hmm.
we're all close, and we can all get to where we need to be to spend,
I'm on that same path here, cousin. My eye on a spot on the river for this family to come together and just love the way we do. Well, I've got to let you run now, cousin. I promised them a concert, and I have kept you for more than twice as long as I advertised. But I think we had a good chat, and I really want to introduce you to Richmond, Virginia. Introduce Richmond, Virginia in a stronger way to you. I look forward to hearing you sing us through your musical journey, some of your favorites, your originals, warming our hearts and welcoming us into your home the way you are. Thank you so much for that, cousin.
Thank you, man. I miss you, man. I love you, man, for real.
I miss you too. You're in my heart. I love you. I'm always gonna love you.
Yeah, forever.
Always. And we're gonna work. Next time we get together, we're getting to a piano and we're getting some pen. We'll decide who plays and who writes, but we're gonna put something down.
It's good to me. Only greatness could come from it, man, without a doubt.
Absolutely. Well, folks, without any further delay, thank you so much for joining us for our conversation. Thank you for loving with us. Thank you for listening to us. Thank you for learning about us and learning with us. The rest of the show, cousin, is up to you. Mr. Brian McKnight Jr., take it away.
Thank you, man. Words really can't describe how full my heart is to hang out with my boy buddy. We've really had some great times, and he really really is one of my biggest musical influences growing up. He really showed me some things that I still use today. Not just musically either. As a older cousin, as a mentor, he's always been a big inspiration to me, man. And he's such a kind soul and beautiful, beautiful guy, if I do say so myself. But he's my blood. To get into some of this music, it's really hard to explain who I am or even get into anything I've done myself without paying homage to the greats that came before me. And one of which that still inspires me every single day is Stevie Wonder, man. He's still with us, and I really, really, really pray every day to get the opportunity to work with him, because I want the chance to talk to him and tell him face to face just how much he's given me. It's unparalleled, the knowledge. And as a piano-driven singer, songwriter, producer, he definitely comes up a lot. So this first jam, I think we all know, goes a little bit like, no New Year's Day to celebrate, no chocolate covered candy hearts to give away, no first of spring, no song to sing. In fact, it's just another ordinary day. No April rain, no flowers bloom, no wedding Saturdays within the month of June. But what it is something true, made up of these three words that I will say to you. I just call to say I love you. I just call to say how much I care. I just call to say I love you, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart, my heart to my oh right. I like to think if Stevie was here, we would have done something like that. But gosh, man, from the harmonies, from the orchestration to the popness of a song like that containing a B section that goes something like, I know I was messing it up, but it's just, in fact, it's just another ordinary day. Because stuff like that does happen on just an ordinary day for Stevie, I would imagine. But when you're that great, how can it not? Songs like that even allowed me to dive into more country areas, more pop just in itself. I think Stevie is the best version we have as young Black singer-songwriter and producers of him and Lionel, to be honest, of how to take what we do and put it in a way that everyone can dance to it. That's all I'll say. And it's people like that, him and Marvin and Prince, that allow me to do things like this. This is a jam I'm working on right now. It's not hard to hear the influences. Oh, we met in the middle of a masquerade. Oh, just having a ball, baby, living dangerously. You smelled like roses and tasted like honey wine. It was like time stopped completely. Oh, I'm talking about a deep emotions got me focused on slowly stroking you down anytime and anywhere. I don't care now, baby. They can call me crazy, but this could be perfect harmony. So don't you ever leave. Can't you see you've got a hold on me? If I'm being honest, I've never cared so hard before. So baby, I promise that now it's only yours. Put the kids to bed before you listen to that one or play that one for her. But yeah, you know, all those things combined allow me to just tap in and become a vessel for the legends to come through. You know, I was fortunate enough to have a reading done by someone that I really trust and a spiritual worker that has really helped me get through a lot of things, who told me one of the last times I met with her that the greats are with me, the legends are with me. And it was right after Prince died. And what really got me was that she told me that Prince was right there with me and that his only advice to me was to play my music, man. And word for word, if I remember correctly, what she said to me that he said was, "You got it, little bro, play your music." And just to give some background on the situation, this is a lady that knows me but doesn't know what I do, has no idea that I'm a songwriter, no idea who I am or anything, and that music is even so important to me, and that's what she gave me. So it's been many moments like that in my life that have allowed me to, gosh, just keep focused and know that at the very least I'm walking down the right path, because I seem to keep finding myself exactly where I'm supposed to be. I think something that 2020 this year has really showed us is that it is imperative for us to show not only the people that we are influenced by, but the people that we truly love dearly and that we championed for, that we love them and that we would do anything for them. With all the incredible losses that we've had this year publicly, and even with the quarantine and all of those things going on, I think if we don't take anything else from this year, man, it's love on your loved ones as much as you can, because gosh, we really, no one knows when our time is. No one knows when that day comes that we will have to say goodbye to them. And what I pray is that those people around me know, whether, you know, no matter what is all I'll say, no matter what. I was given a request by Buddy himself for this next jam. And I actually wrote this tune the day that we found out that Kobe died. And as a basketball player, obviously, he's always been a huge influence to me, man. Being from LA, watching the Lakers win back in the day, and not necessarily ever being a Laker fan, but always being a Kobe fan, always loving the fact that he showed the type of tenacity and the type of focus and the level of commitment to his dream that I attribute to myself for having to music. He definitely inspires me to give even more than 100%. It's getting to that next level, that next version of yourself that is willing to do whatever it takes. And that literally that day inspired this next song, and it's called Thanks for the Memories. It goes a little something like this. Hopefully this isn't too loud or anything crazy. What do angels look like? Do they really dress in white? We all wanna know, 'cause now there's no way that you don't. So thanks for all the memories. Your light will always shine until the day that we meet again. You live in my mind. Maybe we aren't supposed to understand why they say God always has a plan. Give it time, it won't hurt so bad. But still I gotta feel so sad. But no, I thank you for the memories. You know your light will always shine until the day that we meet again. You live in my mind. And though every season will never be the same, we still have every reason to praise your name. Oh, thanks for all the memories. You know your light will always shine until the day that we meet again. You'll live on in my mind, in my mind, in my mind. Yeah. Rest in peace, Chadwick, as well. Another one that's wild to think, man. You know, wild to think about. But let that be a lesson to all of us, man. God, live your life first of all, chase your dreams second of all, and leave no bit of talent unused or unshared. Like Chadwick said, that's what I took from all the memes and all the things people made about the things that he said. He said so many prolific things, but for me, what stood out was that he made a pact with God that he would use every bit of the gift that God gave him while he was here. And like my mama said, maybe he did that. And maybe he's with the master now. One can only hope. I would imagine one can only hope. So yes, RIP everyone that we've lost, both, you know, celebrities, loved ones, everyone, even through COVID, all these things that we're going through. You know, share love, man. It's needed right now more than anything with everything going on. On a lighter note, the other thing that I truly want to get into, and again, that all these greats, Stevie, Prince, MJ, a lot of these guys I still pull from, all shared alike with scoring movies, doing soundtracks, being able to tap into the source so much so to just give pure creativity to whatever's thrown in front of them, and to be given the opportunity to score something for a movie or even just classically period is high on my list. The problem is I'll score something and then I'll write a song to it. So it doesn't stay long in the score phase. For instance, I have a song on a project that's coming out called While We're Still Alive, and it's truly based on just an idea that I had for a score. The lead line was something like this. So it went from that to, I put some drums on it. Next, it had some strings on it. And then it was like, I have these lyrics in my head. I might as well sing them. And those lyrics went something like this. I've been a part of same old stories, but never starring such a female lead. Got your Jeep with the doors up, exploring California's glory. And all I fear is that seasons change will make you disappear. So why don't we let go of our systematic fears and get into our feelings? Tell me, would it really be that bad to be so bad and break all of our temporary deals and tap into our healing? Tell me, would it really be that bad to be so bad with sunlight on your face and my arms around your waist? It's the most perfect summer in LA. Tell me, do you really have to go. Run, 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 running back to the other side. 'Cause I know you'd like to come, come, come and have fun while we're still alive. While we're still alive. I was high that night, the first time I kissed you. I'll admit I was so nervous you weren't even gonna show. And now I obsess with what'll happen if I'm forced to miss you. 'Cause it's unclear if I'll still exist if you leave me here. So why don't we let go of our temporary deals? And so you kind of see how you go from that one idea and it just progresses to the next and the next, and those stanzas just start to build, and before you know it, now I have a song that can also double, hopefully, as a film score, because even that chorus for me is so rooted in such a John Williams, a choral Superman B section where he would usually just go into something melodic that you wouldn't expect to have swells and horns and trumpets and flutes flurrying around. You know, that's really that hook for me where, and even I'll go straight to that second half of the hook that's more, to come, come, come and have fun while we're still alive. While we're still alive. Yeah. Can't you just hear that? Strings, full, scoring something. Lovers running on the beach or something beautiful like that. I don't know. Someone dying. I think what I want to be known for is how I can turn something beautiful into something incredibly melancholy that can be used in a myriad of situations, you know? And I think a lot of my lyrics also kind of tether into that. You don't know whether I'm happy or sad or alluding to, you know, some kind of something. I like the mysteriousness that comes in you having to decipher yourself, but the music making you feel so good that it pulls you into, at the very least, force you to listen. And then the lyrics hit you and you're like, wow, he really said that, or wow, that was really incredibly beautiful on both sides of the equation. Because as a songwriter, I've noticed that my pendulum really swings between incredibly happy, incredibly romantic to incredibly sad and incredibly morbid also sometimes. Like I have the best wedding song. I also have the best divorce song or the best song for people passing away and that moment that you just meet somebody. I love the fact that I feel like I can write something or I have something that can be used in those moments and that people share together. Which really leads me to my last song in this set, a song that has changed my life in so many different ways as a singer-songwriter, as an independent artist, and just as a human to human who craves that human connection and that thrives on the fact that I know that what I create is helping somebody. I was fortunate enough a few years ago to have a song of mine actually leak. To this day, I still have no idea how this particular song found its way to the airwaves, but I'm so glad that it did, because it became the most popular song I have to date and has truly, truly saved my life in so many different ways. This song is called Marry Your Daughter. I wrote it a while ago, and it's really from the standpoint of a guy asking the father for his grace to marry his daughter. It's that simple. And at this time, I hadn't heard a song from that perspective. Shout out Taylor Swift. She really aided in the process in that, and the fact that there's a song of hers where there's a lyric that goes, talk to your dad. He said, pick out a white dress. And from that, I thought, I would love to hear a song from that perspective. I went home that night, wrote it, produced it, and recorded it. And that particular demo is what leaked and became the single that has now gone to #1 in a few countries overseas, huge in the Philippines and in Asia, period. Shout out to my people over there, man, who have saved my life without a doubt. and it's now led to, as of recently, now 10 years later, we have remastered, reproduced with my buddy Move, Sabotage Records in the Philippines. So congratulations to him and Alex. They're having a baby. It's beautiful. Um, we have put out a new version of the song, and that is also taken on a new entity of itself. And it's just, I'm so happy because I'm getting flooded again with all these messages of people using the song, whether that was in their proposal or walking down the aisle, any of those moments that'll last forever. It's great to know that I have a piece of that score, and I'm just so thankful for that. And I'll do a little bit of that for you now as well. There we go. Get my bearings right. Sir, I'm a bit nervous about being here today. Still not real sure what I'm going to say, but bear with me please if I take up too much of your time. But you see in this box is a ring for your oldest. She's my everything, and all that I know is it would be such a relief if I knew that we were on the same side. 'Cause very soon I'm hoping that I could marry your daughter and make her my wife. I want her to be the only girl that I love for the rest of my life, and give her the best of me to the day that I die. I'm gonna marry your princess and make her my queen. She'll be the most beautiful bride that I've ever seen. I can't wait to smile and walk down the aisle on the arm of her father on the day that I marry your daughter. On the day that I marry your daughter. So, man, for me, being able to do what I do in itself is just, it fills me with so much gratitude because, in the age where everyone is trying to find what their purpose is, trying to find what that thing is that just fills them with joy, I really had a no-brainer, and I thank God for that. And I will do anything I can to share what I have with everyone else because I know that's why I have it. So, man, I thank y'all so much for the opportunity to do this for you. Thank you, buddy. Thank you to the museum, everybody. I'm so thankful to be a part of this inaugural episode, and I look so forward to seeing where this goes, and I'm really so happy again for you, buddy. Thank you so much, man. I love you, and can't wait to see you wrap my arms around you and squeeze your hiney, man. It's gonna be awesome. I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Thank you so much. I am Brian McKnight Jr. It has been a blast, and you can find me wherever one can be found. Stay tuned and stay safe out there. Thank you so much.